Hey y'all, it's your girl Coach Kinsley. Today we're going to compare intense cardio to intense weightlifting.
Wow, Coach, that sounds pretty intense.
So buckle up, let's go.
It's Fitness Fix with Coach Kinsley. I'm producer Mike, former client of Coach Kinsley's, senior editor for the podcast, who pushes through every set until I hear
3, 2, 1, let's go! Remember to always consult your physician before starting any nutrition or fitness regimen. We've gotten this question a lot, or a version of this question a lot. Should I do cardio or should I do weightlifting? I think it's important to be specific to compare intense cardio versus intense weightlifting because that's fair compared to intense cardio to lazy weightlifting.
or intense weightlifting to lazy cardio. I think it's interesting. Are we comparing the impact of each one? How exactly? Because to me, they're different things with different goals. Am I on track there?
So you nailed it right on the head. One of the three main points today is to train with purpose because there is room for both of these. It's just what is your purpose? There are benefits to both. Like, there's no way I'm ever going to be like, don't do cardio or don't weightlift. There is room for both.
Yeah, and I've done both at an intense level and sort of a lazy level, and you can definitely tell the difference. I know I can. After doing it for as long as I have, and from a client perspective, I know when I've put in the hard work, and then I know when I probably could have worked harder. The time to do it I have is not as free as I used to have. So I want to make sure I'm efficient with my time and want to get the most work I can in at the time. No cheat days anymore when it comes to working out on the cardio or weightlifting.
Right. Ideally, to use your time efficiently, you are bringing your A game every single workout. Now, there are some days where you need to listen to your body and do a light workout. So I'm not trashing on that at all. It's better to get some reps in to get none. It's better to get some steps in than to get none. But ideally, we are bringing our A game every single day. And I really like the split that you're doing right now, Mike. You're doing weightlifting a few days a week, and then you have cardio a few days a week as well. And I think that is fabulous. Like I said, there is room for both.
And actually, even my resistance training, I split into like a push pull day and then a double mobility workout too. So it's like almost three different types of workouts I'm doing during the week. So I'm really doing what a term I used to hear is muscle confusion. I don't know if that's a thing, but I'm certainly working all different parts of my body all throughout the week. So yeah, I kind of enjoy the variety.
Talking about the variety is a great time to mention as well how weightlifting can be an umbrella term. And intense is very personal. You know, what's intense to me is different than what's intense to you. Having like mobility training with weights, now you're weightlifting. So it doesn't always need to be two heaviest sets that you can do of an exercise. Like weightlifting is definitely an umbrella term, and cardio is as well. So, talking about the benefits of cardio, intense cardio, we are talking about like something that's going to elevate your heart rate. And this can be aerobic and anaerobic, whichever one. So, it could be like running or it could be swimming. But nonetheless, it is not weightlifting. We are elevating the heart rate in an intense way. Cardio is going to mostly benefit your heart health, also known as your cardiovascular health.
I know it's going to make my heart beat hard for sure, and I'm going to feel it afterwards. You know, even during cool down, and when I'm driving back to my office or walking back to the office, even that later that afternoon, I can still kind of feel that push that I've been doing. So it's pretty intense for me anyway, and that's my version of intensity. And I'm sure as I keep going, it keeps ramping up. I keep pushing. I think what I feel is the same. It's just going to take more to get there. And therefore, more work means better benefit, I guess.
That's exactly what I mean when I say like intensity or how intense is very personal. A light jog to me could be someone else's sprint, and that's okay. But nonetheless, we should be elevating our heart rate. So doing cardio that's going to move you, quickly. And with this requirement, it's going to pump your heart harder, right? And that's what you're feeling. Now, as you keep doing this, your heart is going to be able to pump more blood at a time. because it's stronger. So, part of this cardiovascular or this heart health benefit is it's going to lower your blood pressure when you're not exercising because with this training, your heart has learned to pump more blood at one time. Does that make sense?
Because I need that. I need that blood to go to those muscles while I'm running to keep things moving, to keep things going, to get oxygen to the muscles that are working. Is that right?
So that's kind of where the benefits of cardio hang out. Cardiovascular health, lowering blood pressure. And yes, you can lose weight here because you are expelling calories, and weight loss is usually a calorie game. You need to expel more calories than you input. Beware because when you do cardio, your appetite will increase. So take some mental resilience to make sure you are still expelling more calories than you're intaking if your goal is weight loss. Now, when it comes to weight loss in general, I would encourage weightlifting heavier rather than cardio. Like if you need to choose one or the other. Like I mentioned earlier, there's room for both, do both. But if there's just room for one, intense weightlifting is really the way to go.
I know weightlifting will make me stronger, as I have learned over the years. It improves my quality of life in different areas. But how is that going to help me lose weight, burn fat, or whatever it is I'm trying to do?
So, if you are trying to lose weight, first let's start with you can and should elevate your heart rate doing weightlifting if it is intense. And intense is the perfect word for this because your heart rate can elevate if you're doing weightlifting where you're going light for a long time. Your heart rate's going to elevate, or you can go really heavy for a short time. So, there are different ways to elevate your heart rate and make weightlifting intense. That's going to give you the same cardiovascular benefits that cardio does. But the difference is that when you're doing cardio, your requirement of energy to do cardio, it's going to pull from anywhere. So it might pull from the fat, or it might pull from what you just ate, or it might pull from your muscles sometimes. And that's where weightlifting is going to be more beneficial because it's going to require from your muscles, yes, it's doing it in a way that your muscles need to adapt to what you're making them do, where your muscles need to adjust and become bigger or stronger to adapt to what you're requiring of them to do the weightlifting. Whereas the adaptation that you need to make with cardio is really going to be heart focused. Weightlifting, your heart and your muscles need to adjust. And that's why you're going to see more muscle gain and more tone come out of intense weightlifting rather than intense cardio.
Okay, so I guess the idea then for intense cardio, as I'm picturing it in my brain, is to make my heart stronger. And a benefit to that would be then I could be able to work harder when I do my resistance training. So, in a way, one is helping the other help the other. They kind of work in tandem, don't they?
They can, but you don't need to do cardio to get cardiovascular benefits.
Okay. Okay, that's that cardio training. And I wanna kinda clarify something, coach, if you would, please. I know just basically people think, "Well, I gotta be really sweaty to show that I've been working really hard." And I found when I'm doing resistance training that that's not the case, but I'm still working really hard. So, I just kinda wanna have you clarify that you don't have to be sweaty and whatever to show that you've been working hard because you're working different in different ways when you sweat, right?
I agree. You don't need to be drenched in sweat to mean that you're working hard.
So then I can put the work in and not be sweaty and, and it's fine because I know I put the work in for sure.
Right. When you're thinking about weightlifting, especially when you're isolating muscle groups, the smaller muscles, your shoulders, your biceps, your triceps, they require less blood flow. And the blood flow is really what's going to make you sweat. So you've probably noticed, Mike, it is not just weight loss that you're getting out of intense weightlifting. You are gaining muscle. You're gaining strength. You're increasing your metabolism and your joint health. Your joints are going to be much more stable with this extra muscle and strength. And having this muscle and strength is just going to aid in longevity. Plainly put, if you want to live longer, weightlift.
Oh yeah, definitely. Leg day is still difficult. The big muscle groups that I'm moving a lot. over time, rep after rep, set after set. Yeah, that's hard work. That is hard work for me. And so, yeah, I do get a little sweaty putting all that work in. But it's worth it. Still difficult, but I enjoy the benefits, I should say, of
Right.
leg day.
Consistency is everything, and consistency with weightlifting is going to keep you upright a lot longer. It's going to keep you around a lot longer. One study that I've already mentioned has associated living longer with your muscle mass because when you get old, one of your dangers, yes, heart health is a big factor. So intense weightlifting rather than light weightlifting is going to help out there. But the other factor is the dangers of falling. Once you get old, especially if you're a woman, your bone health is going to have to be a top priority. Men and women, but especially women. Your bone health decreases so fast if you don't weight lift. So, one of the dangers of getting old when you are not weightlifting is falling, because falling will lead to breaking a bone if you don't have the right muscle mass. So, you can prevent bones breaking from weightlifting.
Quality of life, coach. It's something you preach consistently. You train for quality of life, especially at somebody who's my age. It really is the benefit that you're going to see. I'm past the point of hoping my, biceps reach a certain circumference. It's nice, I'm sure, just knowing where I was before to where I'm at now, just the improvement in quality of life is so much what I focus on now, and why I don't mind putting in the work, because I've seen the benefit on this other side. And I know, just because I am at a certain point, I just don't get to magically stay there. I got to keep working at it.
So it's going to be different in the sense of what you're training for. When you are lifting heavy for few reps, like in the 4 to 6 range, you're training for strength. When you are still lifting heavy, but not so heavy that you need to stop at 6, maybe you're stopping, maybe doing more like 7 to 10 reps. That's for hypertrophy. And then when you're training more for endurance, still weightlifting, but endurance, you're training like 12 to 15, 20 reps. So all of these are considered weightlifting. But when I say intense, you can be intense at any one of these levels. It matters more how much is left in the tank. If you're having a weight and you're pushing it to 15, but you could have done 25, it's not intense. But if you grab a weight where your intention is 15 and you maybe could have done 16 or 17, then it's intense. Does that make sense?
So then, coach, I know we had mentioned a few times in this episode the difference, or we've mentioned light weightlifting versus intense weightlifting. Can you kind of clarify for me the difference? Because I always tend to go heavy like all the time. I'm failing after 6 reps, instead of knocking out 15 reps. Is that the difference between intense and light? Like if I were able to do 15 reps in 4 sets, is that different than doing just 6 reps across 4 sets or 3 sets?
Right, exactly. And this is really important because depending on what type of injuries you've had, sometimes it doesn't make sense for you to lift super heavy. Sometimes it makes more sense to do more reps, but you need to make sure that you're doing enough reps to still make it intense for yourself, to still make it challenging.
Yeah, it sounds like that I'm close to failure or failing, finishing out the set. 8 reps or 12 reps. It doesn't matter, really. Is what you're saying is if you're failing at short of what you're shooting for, then it is a little more intense than knocking it out and think, oh, I could have done 10 more of those. Coach, we're on about episode 35, I think, 35 weeks. I don't know if we've ever mentioned Arnold Schwarzenegger. And I heard an interview with him the other day saying, I think he's had some heart issues. And so he still trains, but he goes lighter. And of course, he's 70 something. So, good for him. I hope I'm there when I'm 70. I hope to see 70. But then, he said he's going lighter, doing a few more reps and doesn't go as heavy because, according to his doctor, he needs to take it easy. And I guess, relatively speaking, taking it easy for Arnold is,
Probably looks a little
yeah,
different than the rest of us.
look a little different.
Right, so that's practically what I'm saying when like intense for you could be lighter and more reps.
And good for Arnold. So, what we're going to do now, coach, is we're going to hit the highlights.
The highlights. So, when comparing intense cardio versus intense weightlifting, you should train with purpose. Across the board, when comparing intense cardio to intense weightlifting, you should train with purpose. Intense weightlifting across the board is going to be better. It's better because you will live longer and have a better quality of life. But intense cardio does aid in your cardiovascular health. So feel free to do both, but never skip out on your weight training. Thank you so much for joining us today on Fitness Fix with Coach Kinsley. The fun doesn't need to stop here. Email me at coach@coachkinsley.com. You can check out my webpage, coachkinsley.com, and also find me on Instagram at, you guessed it, Coach Kinsley. Your girl. See you next week. Fitness Fix with Coach Kinsley is a production of Greyhawk Enterprise, LLC.